Pearl Jam is a grunge band formed in Seattle, United States in 1990. It was born after guitarists Mike McCready and Stone Gossard, along with bassist Jeff Ament, recorded a series of instrumental demos that they distributed among their friends and acquaintances, hoping to find a vocalist and drummer. Vedder became the composer of the most sensitive lyrics that turned many of these demos into the band's most legendary songs. I take this opportunity to ask you to subscribe and leave your like to continue making videos about new bands. During their early days, Pearl Jam would open for bands like Smashing Pumpkins and Red Hot Chili Peppers, but it wasn't until the release of their first album 10 in 1991 that the band burst onto the alternative music scene with force, leading them to be considered one of the greatest and most influential of the entire grunge movement scene, alongside bands like Nirvana, Alice in Chains, Stone Temple Pilots, and Soundgarden. In their beginnings, the band forged enormous popularity characterized by rejecting different marketing practices, to the extent of having conflicts with MTV for censoring their music videos, trying to boycott Ticketmaster for overpricing their concert tickets, and the anger they caused in specialized media like the Rolling Stones and Time magazine by rejecting their press conferences and focusing on giving their music directly to the fans, allowing them to record alternative versions of their performances without the authorization of their contracts. These are stories behind the songs of Pearl Jam. Number 8. Rearview Mirror. It is the 8th song from the second studio album Versus from 1993. The theme was written by Vedder, being one of the first songs where the vocalist played the guitar, and at the end of the recording, you can hear the drummer throw his sticks against the wall full of frustration. This in response to the exhaustive number of takes that producer Brendan O'Brien made them record for this theme. Vedder has commented that they first started composing the music, and while looking for the right lyrics, he noticed that the tune was very catchy, and the way it progressively increased its strength made him feel as if he were driving a car, as if moving away from something bad, and this allowed him to compose the lyrics after remembering some emotions from the past that he wanted to escape from. It is said that Vedder wrote the lyrics as a way to release the contained anger after remembering bad situations he grew up with at home, mainly related to his abusive father, which are understandable in several parts of the song like Clearer Wants You, We're in My Rearview Mirror. Number 7. Daughter.
Breakfast table in an otherwise empty room.
It is the 3rd song from the album Versus of 1993, and is one of the band's most prominent songs worldwide, consolidating their career by winning the Grammy Award in 1995 for Best Rock Performance by a Duo or Group with Vocal. Vedder has mentioned that the song's lyrics are about a girl with learning difficulties who is mistreated by her parents until she rebels against them. This would be a critique of parents with children who have learning difficulties, being so strict with their education that they normalize hitting them. The song refers to the phrase, "the shades go down," as the act of lowering the window curtains so that neighbors do not know what is happening inside. Almost since the song's release, it has remained a staple in all the band's performances, becoming customary to finish the lyrics and extend the musical background, allowing some improvisation over it. This part was named by the group's fans as the Daughter tag, with one of the most memorable being the performance on Saturday Night Live in 1994, where only 8 days had passed since the news of the death of Nirvana's leader, Kurt Cobain. And at the end of this song, Vedder ends with the phrase "Hey hey, my," referring to Neil Young's theme, from which Kurt took the phrase "It's better to burn out than to fade away," the same one he used in the last lines of his farewell note.
Hey, my.
Number 6. Yellow Ledbetter. This painfully melancholic song is one of the group's most listened to. Despite never being released on their studio albums and becoming popular after being selected to be part of the B-side of the single Jeremy from 1992, despite being one of the first songs composed by the band, it was discarded and did not appear on their debut album, and was only taken up by the group to be included in compilation albums. Guitarist McCready commented that the song arose from an improvisation in the studio, and that the singer really did not have the lyrics ready, so he sang what came to mind, and the second recorded take was the one that was released. Similarly, the guitarist has acknowledged that the opening chords and rhythm are inspired by Jimi Hendrix's Little Wing, as well as the guitar solo, which Rolling Stone magazine included in its list of the 100 greatest guitar solos in history. The song's lyrics seem not to have a concrete meaning, besides being different in their live performances, as the vocalist usually changes them, giving rise to a huge list of unofficial versions. However, Vedder commented in an online chat that the song was written during the Gulf War era, assuring that it is an unpatriotic song. Similarly, in 2008, after a performance in New Jersey, Vedder responded to an audience question about the meaning of the lyrics, commenting that it was inspired by the brother of his friend Tim Ledbetter, who served in the First Gulf War, and later, his friend received a yellow letter in the mail informing him that his brother had died in the war. They then went out for a walk to assimilate the news, and along the way, they encountered an American flag and people coming out of a porch. When Vedder's friend saluted the flag, they did not return the salute and looked at him with disapproval due to his appearance. This is reflected in the song fragment "Oh Yeah, Can You See Them, Out on the Porch? Yeah, but they don't wave." An edited version of the song was used in one of the last episodes of the series Friends, when Rachel gets on the plane, being one of the first times the band allowed the use of their songs in different television programs.
Ross, hi. It's me. That is so not how I wanted things to end with us.
Number 5. Better Man.
Watching the clock, it's 4 o'clock.
It is the 11th song from the third studio album Vitalogy from 1994. The song was written by vocalist Vedder since he was in high school. In an interview, he recalled how far he had come from adolescence when he wrote this song and wondered if anyone would ever hear it. The song talks about the complicated family relationship that his mother suffered with her supposed father, who he would later find out was his stepfather. It also alludes to his mother as a subdued woman who endures situations of abuse because she cannot find a better man, appears in the chorus as she lies and says she's in love with him, can't find a better man. The song was performed live for the first time in San Diego, California, with his previous band called Bad Radio. Later, when it was recorded for Pearl Jam, it was rejected by the band for being considered a pop song and was not included in the second studio album Versus. This made Vedder consider giving the song to a Greenpeace charity album. However, producer Brendan O'Brien felt it was a blatantly great pop song and managed to rescue it by recording it for the album Vitalogy. The lyrics have a strong connection with the song Alive, which deals with the singer's childhood and his relationship with his stepfather. Rolling Stone rated the song as a haunting ballad about a woman trapped in a bad relationship. Vedder, declaring it a song about abusive relationships, has dedicated it live, according to his own words, to the bastard who married his mother. Number 4. Even Flow.
Rest his head on a pillow made of concrete.
It is the second song from the debut album 10 in 1991. The melody was created under the name The King as part of the primary themes that both the guitarists and the bassist had released before becoming known as Pearl Jam. The main riff was created by Stone Gossard, inspired by Stevie Ray Vaughan, composed a funk guitar riff, although in the end, it did not turn out as he wanted and was reworked many times. Both drummer Dave Crusson and guitarist Mike McCready have stated that the song was modified about 70 times until it became a nightmare and they came to hate it. The song's lyrics, written by Vedder, describe a homeless man who sleeps on the street and asks people for coins, in addition to being illiterate and having developed a mental illness with which he struggles to keep his thoughts coherent. In 2008, Vedder declared that he befriended a homeless man named Eddie, who was a Vietnam War veteran and used to help him by buying him food. Vedder wrote the song after finding out that the man had died while the band was on tour. A curious thing that happens in their live performances is that during the song solo, the vocalist always tries to hang from the stage and most of the time jumps into the audience. Pearl Jam originally hired director Rocky Schenck to record the music video for the song before going on tour in Europe. Guitarist Stone Gossard had the idea of filming the band inside a zoo. Arrangements were made in an abandoned warehouse, and the members were recorded individually and as a group improvising the song. However, in the end, it was concluded that it was a colossal waste of time and money, in addition to drummer Dave Abruzzese injuring his wrists in one of the takes and having to go on tour with his hands splintered. In the end, the official video for the song would be directed by Gossard's friend, Josh Taft, who during the concert at the Moore Theater in Seattle in 1992, was recording scenes from different songs. And at one point in the show, Vedder felt that Josh's presence and his cameras were so intrusive that he stopped the concert and shouted the famous intro,
Not a TV studio! Josh, turn these lights out! It's a fucking rock concert!
Taft left that part in his final version, but MTV always sought to cut it from their broadcasts. Number 3. Black. It is the fifth song from the debut album 10 in 1991. It is one of the band's most emotional songs, and initially, their record label insisted on releasing it as a single and music video. However, the band considered it a very personal song and did not want it to become marketing. Still, the song alone managed to reach number 3 on the Billboard chart. The tune, originally named Ballad in E, belonged to the first themes composed for the Gossman Project in 1990 and was waiting to find both a singer and a drummer. And it would be Eddie Vedder who would write the lyrics while traveling to Seattle after being invited by the band to join their lineup. The song is a kind of monologue maintained by a heartbroken man, seeing the person he loved the most and with whom he maintained memories for several years walk away. It is said that the song is based on his own love breakup with Beth Liebling, instrumentalist and co-founder of the group Hovercraft, with whom he maintained a 17-year relationship that would finally end in 2000. In the book Pearl Jam 20 from 2011, Vedder spoke about the theme. It's about first relationships. The song is about letting go. It's very rare for a relationship to withstand the Earth's gravitational pull and where it's going to take people and how they're going to grow. I've heard it said that you can't really have a true love unless it was a love unrequited. It's a harsh one, because then your truest one is the one you can't have forever. Number 2. Alive. It is the third song from their debut album 10 in 1991. The tune was composed by guitarist Stone Gossard while he was in the band Mother Love Bone, and it is part of the first themes released on the demo of the Gossard project, which they distributed among their friends and acquaintances in the hope of finding a vocalist and a drummer. The song's lyrics were written by Eddie Vedder, who at the age of 26, worked as a night dispatcher at a gas station in San Diego, California. His friend Jack Irons, who was one of the first drummers for the band Red Hot Chili Peppers, gave him a copy of the demo from some friends who were forming a new band. The lyrics begin with an autobiographical part of the singer when he was 13 years old and his mother revealed to him that the man he knew as his father was actually his stepfather, as his biological father had passed away. Then the lyrics turn into fiction, asserting that his mother, missing her husband so much, still sees him alive in the eyes of her son, to the extent of being willing to commit incest. The theme includes a long guitar solo performed by McCready, who declared that he copied the solo from another band which in turn was inspired by 5 to 1 by the band The Doors. The influence of Jimi Hendrix on the guitarist is very noticeable, as he often uses a wah-wah pedal and a distorted Stratocaster guitar. Guitar World magazine placed it at number 44 on the list of the best guitar solos. The song is part of a trilogy that, according to Vedder, is a mini-opera titled Mama San and starts with the theme of Alive, telling the story of a young man who discovers that the man he believed was his father is actually his stepfather, while his mother's pain from remembering him leads to an incestuous relationship with the son. The next theme would be Once, which deals with a man who falls into madness caused by a traumatic adolescence and leads him to commit a massacre. And finally, the song Footsteps would show the protagonist looking back from a cell in prison, waiting to be executed. An accident associated with this song occurred during the Roskilde Festival in Denmark on June 30, 2000. During Pearl Jam's performance, the crowd rioted to the extent of pushing people on top of each other, ending with some crushed by several layers. The band, realizing this, stopped playing and asked the crowd to back up to prevent more accidents.
2, 3. 1, take a step back. 2, take a step back. 3, please.
However, it is said that while the injured were being taken out, part of the audience began to chant the phrase, "I'm still alive," without knowing that it was already too late, as in the end, 9 deaths were counted among the injured. This accident had a strong consequence on the band, as they canceled the following 2 dates and deliberately omitted singing Alive for the rest of their performances. Even the band was considering splitting up. However, at the end of the investigations, it was concluded that the accident was caused by technical problems in the organization, and the band, being acquitted, decided to continue, later releasing the single Love Boat Captain in 2003, as a tribute to the victims of the tragic event and their families. Originally for Vedder, singing the chorus "I'm Still Alive" meant a curse he carried from the changes in his adolescence. However, over time the audience changed the meaning, turning it into an inspiring phrase that invites overcoming adversities. Eddie Vedder himself declared that the new meaning the audience gave to his lyrics allowed him to end that curse. Number 1. Jeremy.
Drawing pictures of mountain tops.
It is one of the most emblematic songs of the band and was included as the 6th song on their debut album 10 in 1991. It had 2 nominations at the 1993 Grammys for Best Rock Song and Best Hard Rock Performance. The lyrics tell a real-life story about Jeremy Wade Dell, a 15-year-old teenager from Texas who on January 8, 1991, decided to end his existence in front of 30 classmates and his teacher. The news in the newspaper left Vedder so impressed that he felt the need to do something with that action, to give it a reaction and more importance. So he composed a song mainly talking about the lack of parental attention, the teasing and jokes from his classmates that would lead him to commit the act. There are two versions of the music video, the first showing the band in black and white playing on a rotating platform, which was paid for with the money of director Chris Cuffaro. However, being rejected by Epic Records, it would not be commercially released. The second video, which would be considered the official one, included a child actor in the role of Jeremy, and in which scenes of the boy drawing, running through the forest, fighting with his parents, and in the classroom can be appreciated while mixing with several close-ups of Eddie Vedder singing. At the end of the video, you can see how Jeremy enters the classroom, throws an apple at the teacher, takes a gun out of his pocket and places it in his mouth, then closes his eyes, and the shot changes, focusing on his classmates with their hands covering their faces, and on which you can notice that their uniforms are stained with blood. This shocking video was released in August 1992 and quickly became a success with high rotation on MTV. However, the network projected a censored version where the scene of Jeremy's mouth with the gun is cut, and by removing this part in the sequence, people thought that the attack would have been against his classmates. An accident associated with the music video occurred on February 2, 1996. At Frontier Junior High School in Moses Lake, Washington, when a 14-year-old student attacked his algebra teacher and two students. Once he was captured, the student declared that he had taken ideas from the music video Jeremy by Pearl Jam as well as from other series and movies. As a consequence of this, the band did not record a music video again until 1998 for the song Do the Evolution, which was an animated short directed by Kevin Altieri, known for working on Batman, the animated series, and creator of the comic Spawn. After the Columbine Massacre of 1999, the music video was banned on American television, and only in 2020 did Pearl Jam publish it on their YouTube channel uncensored, in commemoration of National Gun Violence Awareness Day. If you liked the video, share it with your friends and family so they can learn more about these bands. Remember, you can also leave us in the comments which other bands or singers you would like to see in these videos. Until next time.